law, knowledge of Sharia law, people don't know. It's very limited. And as a result, a lot of people have misconceptions about Sharia law, about how just it is. And people feel that when they go to Qadi court, they don't get what they want out of misconception. So as a result, there's a need because laws need to be known. Laws need to be accessible to everyone. And there is a saying that ignorance of the law is no excuse. So therefore, this compendium is something that was needed years back. But now that we have it, it will make access to the law, Sharia law, easy.
For Dr. Omar Jah, an ardent preacher of Islamic harmonization, both in thought and practice, this is a dream come true.
I think it is time for us to try to encourage people, to call them to unite themselves, to eradicate these ill differences that can lead to fighting, enmity, and killing each other. So if this compendium come, I think it comes to support or to help to achieve my vision. Yes, so that's what I work day and night. So even if another compendium in another area comes, I will welcome it and I will inshallah participate, and I do my level best to see that it stands in the Gambia.
If validated, it will be a giant leap forward, not only for the Sharia courts, but also for the judiciary. We just made wider access to justice a top priority. The Chief Justice of the Gambia, Emmanuel Akomaye Agim, emphasized this point by arguing that the judiciary is not reinventing Sharia, but only codifying and simplifying its provisions for Qadis and ordinary Muslims seeking redress before the courts.
So we are not making any law. What we have done is to have one document that contains all the divine laws on Sharia personal law, on issues of marriage, divorce, and inheritance. All the laws, you know where they are, in the Sharia, in the Hadiths, in the Sunnah, and the rest of them. You know all where they are. But only you know. How many people know? So we are taking all of them, put them in one document, make that document available as wide as possible so that people will know.
For the Qadi courts, this compendium of Sharia rules would not have come at a better time, since it mostly deals with family issues. As society becomes increasingly dynamic, such a simplified body of laws will serve as a ready guide for every Muslim faced with problems concerning divorce, marriage, and inheritance. Mamadou Diallo, GRTS.
Well, you can follow that story and other GRTS programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio live. Time now to take our first break. We'll be right back.
GRTS Digital FM on 98.6 and 102.6, the best FM station in town, where you can capture hundreds and thousands of potential customers with a wider coverage around the country. Advertise today and get your targeted customers. For more information, call 9933263, 9957255, or 4497331 and 9906445. GRTS Digital FM.
Supreme Court is facing a heart-wrenching decision, one that can be anguish for Palestinians whose loved ones have remained in Israeli prisons for years, and more for the family of captured Israeli soldier Gilad Shalit. Some Israelis say they are suffering too. Israel prepares to release more than 400 Palestinian detainees as soon as Tuesday as part of a planned swap of more than 1,000 prisoners for Shalit. Although many Israelis supported it, those whose loved ones died in terror attacks want the Supreme Court to stop what they are calling madness. Meanwhile, Gaza is preparing a hero's welcome for many of the released Palestinian prisoners. But many Israeli families say the price for the swap deal is too high and the potential consequences too dangerous. CNN has more on that.
Gilad Shalit. More than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners for one Israeli soldier. While many are applauding the prisoner swap, others are outraged. Arnold Roth's daughter Malki was killed in a terror attack. Now, one of the women convicted for her participation in the plot is likely to be released as part of the Gilad Shalit deal.
Everyone wants to see Gilad Shalit safe and well and back home, but I think that there's a real failure to understand the price that's being paid. The price is phenomenal. We're releasing people who have dedicated their lives to killing Jews and Israelis.
In August 2001, a suicide bomber blew himself up in a Sbarro's pizza parlor in downtown Jerusalem, killing 15 people. Many family members of the victims of this and other terror attacks on Israelis oppose the exchange for Gilad Shalit. Almost 300 prisoners serving life sentences will be released from detention centers. One man who lost 5 relatives in the Sbarro bombing even desecrated the Yitzhak Rabin Memorial in Tel Aviv. This is the site of the Sbarro bombing, and of course, even 10 years later, for many of the victims' families, the wounds have not yet healed. But for Israel, there's more at stake here, a larger security concern. Could those that they're releasing now perpetrate other acts of violence in the future, and could it embolden extremist groups to try and capture additional Israeli soldiers? Some Israeli politicians say these concerns made it impossible for them to approve the deal.
Voting for such an agreement will be a tremendous encouragement for future terror. In the Middle East, it will be perceived as a move that simply says that terror pays off.
Still, Israel's prime minister insists there was no other choice. It is very possible that this window of opportunity that opened because of the circumstances would have closed indefinitely, Netanyahu said, and we would never have been able to bring Gilad home at all. An argument Arnold Roth says he cannot buy into. And while Israel gets ready to welcome Gilad Shalit home, many here fear the consequences the deal for his release might have in the future. Fred Pleitkin, CNN, Jerusalem.
Revolutionary fighters in Libya say they have taken control of Bani Walid, one of the last remaining cities which was under the control of fighters loyal to former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Interim government soldiers say they have swept through much of Bani Walid and have now focused attention on the city's airport. They are also reporting the capture of at least 20 pro-Gaddafi fighters. And in Colonel Muammar Gaddafi's birthplace, an intense battle continues to rage there with rebel fighters trying to consolidate their gains. CNN's Dan Rivers is there and reports any sudden movement can result in a burst of gunfire.
The front line hasn't moved much for days now, but that doesn't make it any less dangerous. This is the safest way to get around here. Snipers have been picking off NTC soldiers every day. They have plenty of ammunition, just not much discipline when they use it. One Gaddafi sniper can keep a dozen NTC troops pinned down for hours. But the revolutionaries have their own sharpshooters. Patiently they wait on rooftops until they see movement, and then the inevitable. Away from the fighting, the city is deserted, abandoned like the livestock which roam these once busy neighborhoods. Almost every building is pockmarked with bullet holes, some are utterly destroyed.
Sirte used to be a city of some 100,000 people, but now it's difficult to find just one. The handful that we have encountered have been here just to salvage a few more possessions from the wrecks of their homes, and all the while the fighting is continuing.
It's why few have made the dangerous journey here to collect belongings. This man and his wife grab a carpet and some cushions to make their night in a tent more comfortable. They hurry as a NATO jet circles overhead. Others come to look at what remains of their homes. This man and his mother get what they can. He doesn't want to be interviewed, but is beside himself with worry. He said he paid $20,000 for this apartment, and now look at it. One man does talk anonymously.
I am not with Gaddafi. I am not with the other side. I am a man of peace.
It's clear these people are worried the National Transitional Council will view them as pro-Gaddafi simply because they haven't taken up arms.